Atlanta's #1 radio stations, Swanky 93.3 and The Heat 94.6 radio stations, has you covered. From our studios to our newsroom at K.L.P Entertainment. Listen on all major audio platforms like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audacity, Apple Podcast, Stitcher Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, and more. All the hits, all day long.
I switched to Boost Mobile and got a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone. Want to know the best part?
It was free?
Nope.
The fact that it's on America's largest 5G networks?
Nope. It's the ding.
Oh yeah, love the ding.
Right? It's all about the ding. It's the dingarooski, the dingaroner, the ring-a-ding-ding.
Unleash your power to save with Boost. Get a free Samsung Galaxy A23 5G phone when you switch. Boost Mobile. Unleash your power.
And the ding.
Limited time offer. New customers only. Available on select networks. 5G not available everywhere. One device per line. Tax excluded. Additional restrictions apply. See your local Boost Mobile store for details.
Your #1 hit music station.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Go! What's going on in Hot Atlanta? Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P Entertainment and K.L.P Studios. Go! It's K.L.P Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P Kennedy Lucas and Rocco Styles.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.
And we're live. Y'all, we ready for another KLP Aftermath podcast. We sounding good here in the studio, and KLP, I think we ready for another podcast here today.
Oh, I hear you, T. I hear you loud and clear. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Hopefully y'all ready for another exciting podcast here today. But before we get down to the nitty and gritty, y'all know how we like to do it. For sure, and I'm really, really excited for this one because, you know, we got something for you right real quick.
This beat is dope.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Hey girl, it's so nice to meet you. This beat is dope.
Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, now we signing right. Welcome. Let's just live in a moment. Hey. Yeah, buddy. We back. Hey, trying to control it. Living in the moment. Hey. Moments that we got.
Want this beat, right?
Ladies and gentlemen.
I love this beat.
In the wasteland, I think it's time you replace them with a young brother that will treat you amazing. Let me upgrade your day, we're all basic. Don't carry the weight of all of the problems you had yesterday.
Come on.
Let me come and put a smile on the face. Forget all of your trouble. Let's live in the moment.
Hey. Shout out to all the podcasters out there. Shout out to all of the podcasters out there. Shout out to my Atlanta people. We back into the studio. KLP Studios, that is. Let's bring y'all such an exciting living in a moment. Gotta get you. Come on. Hey. Come on. You got it.
for the one is money, mouth, and the truth, and I never lie when I'm testifying in the room.
Let's live in the moment. One door closes, another one opens. So let's live in the moment. Hey. Come on, we gonna get started in a minute, y'all. We just in the groove of things. Great morning, great morning. Closes, another one opens. Let's live in the moment. No point holding to what's broken. So let's live in the moment. Right here. We got one right here. Gotta right here. Goddamn. Woo. Hey.
This beat is dope.
That's all we got. Hey. Ladies and gentlemen, that new K.L.P. up in the building for sure, y'all. Give it up. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another exciting podcast here today. This is the K.L.P. Aftermath Podcast. I'm your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. We've got T up in the studio, and we've got my man, my co-host for the show, Rocco Styles, is here in the building. We got Simone Teagues is in the back building. Simone Teagues is back with her new segment here for the podcast as well. Welcome to the podcast. I'm, again, your gracious, humbled, highly favored podcast host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas here. Welcome back to the podcast, the radio show, if you will. It's a glorious morning. It's January 23rd, Tuesday. Hopefully you guys are staying cool inside if you work inside. And, shout out to all my delivery drivers, all my FedEx drivers, all my Amazon drivers. Because it's cold. It's very, very cold outside. So God bless your heart. If you have to work outside and you're doing some work outside, bless your heart, because it is freezing outside. So hopefully you guys, and this is not a sponsor whatsoever to our fan base out there, but I always got to say, Rocco, please guys, stay warm, stay safe, drink emergency if you can, because you don't want to get sick from this cold. This cold is one of those things that it does happen, and it's one of those things that it's not the greatest when it comes down to people being sick, but it's when you work outside and you're doing a lot of outside activities. Yes, you can get a little sick, it'll get a little feverish. Now, of course, we've got segments for our show here today, and I had to break some things down when it comes down to this podcast, because there's some things I wanted to get off my chest. And of course, I talked to Rocco and Simone and Mike. Those are my co-hosts for the show. Mike is in the building as well. He's going to talk more about sports news later on into the podcast as I hit the mic. So I'm back with podcasting. And, typically I don't like to get so serious on the shows because I like to get on with the topics of conversation. But, I feel like this is the platform where I'm able to kind of disclose, some things that's going on in my lifetime, because I do like to be transparent to our fan base, because people genuinely do care and they do listen. I'm back into the podcasting, and I know last week was kind of slim when it came down to podcasting. I didn't give you guys enough podcasting that I thought I was going to be able to. Last week, and I always say to a lot of people that mental health is one of those things that's just so important. Mental health is real. Mental health is serious. And sometimes you just want to break from it all. Sometimes you just want to take a pause and decompress some things and to reevaluate some things. And I'm not going to lie here on our show. Last week, I had a terrible week. It was a very, very hard week of just things that are going on in my life, whether it's professional. I don't want to say family because, I didn't have any family troublings last week. It was fantastic last week when it comes down to family. But when it comes down to business, I've had a rough week. We find out, midweek that, our latest film, City Never Sleeps. Go check that out over at Reveal.net, by the way. Reveal TV, that's the name of the the company that's having our streaming our movie right now, City Never Sleeps, you can go onto the website version of it, or you can download the app via your app store, whether it's Google Play or your Apple App Store. Download the app, sign up for an account. It's free. You know, you don't pay nothing to sign up for a free account. You get to watch all sorts of movies, but particularly our movie, City Never Sleeps, is streaming on that platform as well. Yeah, so if you didn't see my post from yesterday, we did do kind of a promo for the movie. So for those of you who have seen the movie, thank you so very much. I'm always appreciative for people who have seen the movie. One thing I learned about the distribution and the streaming business, because we are in the distribution and streaming business when it comes to not only our podcasting, but our movies as well. When one network pulls you down, and you know, it's no merit towards a network. You know, networks, they have the free range to take things down, or they can revoke the license, or they change their mind. You know, these things do happen in the streaming industry, and this is not the first movie that it could have been on a big network, but you know, the network changed their mind, they went another direction, and they're not pushing forward to our content. You know, this is not the first time that this happened to me. This happened to me many movies ago. But I get very upset about this one because, you know, City Never Sleeps, and I did it in my post yesterday, Rocco, that I appreciate everybody who worked on this movie. You know, this was the first movie. This is our first movie of 2024, by the way. So we're very excited for that. This was the movie that, you know, we've had a lot of cast members, a lot of artists, a lot of writers, a lot of voice actors who came to be a part of this project because they believed in our films and they believe in what we're trying to do, and they're trying to get into the industry. And the upsetting thing with that is promising my team for something, and then that something doesn't happen, and now I have to recant and I have to go back on my decision, you know, or I have to tell them, well, I know I said I promised you this, but you know, the network changed and now it's going to be this instead. So it's just very, very upsetting when it comes down to trying to get the content out there to the right channels. And you know, some channels, they, by their free will, you know, it's their network, so I'm not upset about it. Oh, well, I am a little upset, but I'm not going to sit around and cry about it because it is their network. I don't own their network, so I get it. You know, it's business. So but I was very, very upset about that, and that's been very, very heavy on my mind. And I've had other professional things that was going on that we're missing the mark on, so which I won't dabble so much in that to this show. But yeah, it's been a lot of just things not going my way. And I'm learning to accept that everything's not going to go my way. I'm learning to accept that, you know, I can only control what I can control within my business. With any business venture that I've had currently, you know, there's certain things that is just out of my control, and there's nothing I can do to try to fix it when it's out of my control. So I ended up going to, you know, this weekend going back to the gym, and then I started meditating. My brother started doing yoga, which I'm probably going to get on this yoga train because I've been very, very stressed. Stress is one of those things that it happens for me. And to be transparent to a lot of people, if you don't know this by now, you should. You know, I have extreme anxiety and very, very horrible PTSD, which I'm coping with it. I'm training to get less of it, but it does happen. And when it does happen, it just really degrades my focus. And I really hate it when it does that, because now I'm not motivated to come to the show. And now I'm having the other podcasters go forward with Spectrum Podcasts without, you know, the K.L.P Aftermath or the K.L.P After Party. You know, that's like the stable of our network. So I apologize to my fan base with that. And it does happen with me. And one of the things that I just don't want it to, but it does. So yeah, that's where I've been with that. And after the long, hard week, you know, moving into this first segment, actually, because I'm going to talk about it this segment. And of course, Rocco, he's here too. He's going to talk about, because he told me he played, and I played it too, but Prince of Persia, The Last Crown, he's going to do his take on that. But I am learning towards the end of every week, every long work week that I've had, I'm always remembering that I've got family members that love me. I have friends that love me, right? So I hit up my friend. Well, this was last weekend when I hit up my friend, but my friend Muncie, we had a good conversation, which was amazing. And then I talked with my mom for a good bit. You know, my mom's like my rock. So, you know, it's always good to talk to her about it. Shout out to you, Mom. So it's always good that I've got that support, and, you know, I've got my brothers. So we ended up going to here in Atlanta. If you guys don't know it by now, yes, I'm a WWE fan. You know, that's my childhood. I grew up watching it. I still watch it to this day. Can't wait for the Royal Rumble next weekend. But SmackDown came to town. So SmackDown was at State Farm Arena. And it was cool because we had got some really, really awesome seats, guys. I tell you, these seats were just so amazing. They were floor seats, so those are always cool. Ringside. And it was a cool moment because we saw a lot of superstars, right? So my two brothers ended up going to a not a bookstore, but it was a venue where I think it was Cricket Wireless, the company that's huge sponsor for or partnership with WWE. And my brothers went to go see Bianca Belair. So it just really, I was in the office, so I couldn't escape the office to go to that with them because they got pictures. They met her real brief, like, because she's on a time crunch, right? So that was really, really cool to see. So I ended up going to, we all went to State Farms, got floor seats to go watch SmackDown live. And it was cool. It was a cool experience because we saw our favorite superstars, and I got a fist pump with Carlito, you know, so that's always cool. So my brother got a picture with one of the LWO team members, and of course my other brother saw LA Knight walking out of his locker room, going to his car, looking around, trying to escape the crowd, you know. So it was a cool moment, to say the least. It was very, very cool. It was a great night, and things like that, I'm just always got to remember to myself that, you know, I do have family that love me, that cares, and that's a good way for an escape. And then I escaped the office for the weekend. I wasn't thinking about work. And one of the things, and I say this with K.L.P Entertainment, and it is true to all of my K.L.P Entertainment associates, quiet quitting is a thing. Now, I'm not saying don't quit on me, but quiet quitting is a thing where typically with K.L.P Entertainment stuff, we do it, you know, Monday through Friday, and we shut it down Saturday and Sunday. And then sometimes if it's a Monday, if it's holiday, yes, we're shutting it down, right? So I'm learning to quiet quit on myself, whereas, you know, during the week, I'm doing the podcast, or I'm doing a GSU work, or I'm doing ESPN, or doing schoolwork. That's my week. And then the weekend is for me to not worry about work. The weekend should be for me to play video games and go to the gym and go out to eat one weekend, you know, really enjoying my weekend and doing meditation. And that's one of the things that I need to learn to do. And, you know, I haven't been doing that for a while. And after this weekend, I know that I need to start doing that. You, of course, went to WWE SmackDown on Friday, and then going to the gym 3 times in a row, honestly, except for Sunday. Sunday I had to go get my eye exam, so that was kind of a personal errand. But, of course, yes, I'm getting some new glasses. Can't wait, because I went to the doctor, and they said, Kennedy, you like, so Mr. Patterson, you got really bad stigmatism in your eyes. I'm like, yeah, I know. My eyes are, yeah. Because I've been wearing glasses for years now, and it's been a minute since I was able to get me some new glasses, and it was long overdue for some new pairs of glasses. But I was telling the doctor, like, yeah, I've got really bad stigmatism. I really do, because it kind of runs in the family. You know, my parents wear glasses. My sisters wear glasses, but I think they're on contacts now. The only person that doesn't wear glasses is my big brother. He has the perfect 20/20 vision. I do not. Without my glasses, I can't see a gosh darn thing. So it's just one of those things that I had to do. So it was cool. It was very, very cool to get some new glasses. And then Monday, doing some virtual work. And then now, you know, just relaxing. And now it's Tuesday, and now we're back to the week. So that's where I've been. I know this is a long spiel to the intro to the podcast, but yeah, that's where I've been, and I apologize for that. But Rocco, man, I know I meant to ask you how you doing. That's my bad. How you doing, Rocco?
I'm good, Kennedy. It's so good to be back in the podcast. Me and you talked over the phone over the weekend, and you explained to me about how we haven't been doing this show because you just needed some time to reevaluate some things. So with that, I completely understand. I really, really understand the scope and scale of it. You know, we do look out for each other and we make sure that we're all good. So it's good. You know, I completely understand. But I am glad to be back here in the studio. This is the K.L.P. Aftermath. I'm good. Sierra's good. The family's good. We're all cold, though. You know, driving through Atlanta, we were pretty cold. Saw your photos of you going to SmackDown. It looks like you had a rocking good time. Fortunately, I missed out on that because me and Sierra, we had to do some family things, if you will. So it's good to be back here on the studio. So I wanted to talk about this game that came out, and it's called Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Now, a lot of people had their thoughts about the game. A lot of people had their different opinions when it came down to this game coming out. I thought this game was fantastic. Now, over the weekend, me and you both, Kennedy, we bought the game and we played it in our respective homes, and you know, we wanted to talk about it here on the podcast for sure. This game has received a 92% of like games from Google users. Now, from IGN down to different other scopes of it, IGN rates this game an 8 out of 10 from IGN. And typically when we go and buy our games, or we're looking at a game to review, and of course, Kennedy, you mentioned that we are writing this article about Prince of Persia on our blog site. By the way, folks, go check out the Vox Times by K.L.P. Entertainment. I will be making my debut on this page as well, when me and you both will be writing more about this game on there later on today. So please stay tuned for that. Now, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is an action-adventure game developed and published by Ubisoft, or Ubisoft, however you pronounce it now. Part of the Prince of Persia series, this game was released for Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S. Now, this came out a couple days ago, and the critics are in. Let me just tell you guys our first impressions about this game. I freaking love this game. I think I like this game because it has the elements of Metroid, the Metroid games. Is it primarily Metroid Dread, because that's the latest one that we played. But it uses those elements in the form of the Prince of Persia game, and it's not as hard. Now, if you think about Metroid Dread, you know, you have the Emmy, and the Emmy is instant kill. Gets me every time. But you don't see the hardship in this game. You can, of course, adjust this game to beginner if you need it, if it gets a little bit too difficult for you. I do think Ubisoft made something very special when it came down to this particular game. I like it. I really, really like the scope of it. I like everything about it because I like the story. I like the origin of it. I do like how the characters are more interactive. We were playing through the cutscene of this game, and Mike, you know, you're going through the cutscene, and people are popping in and out for you as well. You know, your allies pop in when they need it, and then they pop off the screen. So I thought that was always a unique take for the origin story of this. Of course, me and you both, Kennedy, we picked up this game for PlayStation 5. I'm always going to recommend a game of this caliber if you're wanting the 60 frames per second and the high quality. Go for it to be on PlayStation, right? That's just my vote. That's just how I see it. I really like it. The combat is not so difficult. I think the one thing that tripped me and you both up, Kennedy, is the parry system. I think the parry system should be a little bit more tighter than what I would see, but it's not half bad, right? If you learn the parry system, it's like muscle memory, right? When you have that muscle memory inside of you, when it comes down to the parry, it gets a little bit better. But I struggled with that. I really struggled so heavily when it came down to the parry system. It just got me every time. I died quite a few I've died so many times. So we do have a review from another user, and a shout out to Ruben Galindo, if I pronounce their name right. He gives a full 5 stars. He says, or they said, I honestly came into this title without high expectations. I played all the Assassin's Creed side-scrollers and was overwhelmed by each other, but this game is something completely different. You can tell right off the bat when you start that love and care of the property was put into this, and it's not just a simple cash grab, because it's not based on the namesake alone, because Prince of Persia, that's the high title. The combat was fast and fluid, with the prince acrobatic moves very much in effect just in the 2D playing field. You don't start super weak and slow, to have to work your way up. You start decent with some knowledge and experience under your belt, and through this huge open world, of course, you can discover many secrets, trinkets, and add-on power-ups, and so forth. Yes, I've seen it, right? I've seen it to where this game, while you're kind of going, you're following the story, but you're kind of going treasure hunting a little bit. You're finding power-ups throughout the map, because it's a huge map. I think this is fantastic. I think they really did something really, really well with this. I do recommend this to a lot of fan base. I do recommend people picking this up if you have the extra cash to spare. They do retail this game at $50 right now. Maybe it'll go down in price in the next coming of months, but I think it's worth it. I really do think it's worth it, and I played it, and I enjoyed it very, very much. It was very, very fun.
That's always good to hear, for sure. Yeah, my votes are exactly with yours, Rocco. I do think that this game is really, really good. It's worth it. I think so. I played it again, like Rocco mentioned, guys. I played it over the weekend too, and boy, did I have a great time, because it was a great stress reliever. But yeah, it's fluid. I also agree. The parry system for me is something that I just couldn't master at first. It got me. It killed. That parry system kills me a lot, because when you don't parry right and they hit you, especially when it's the big bosses, they will hit you, right? They will hit you, and it takes so much damage if you get hit by a bigger boss than you, and even if you haven't leveled up, right? So one of those things, it does happen, but it's interesting. It's very, very interesting, to say the least. So like I say, I agree, and I agree with Rocco. This game is well worth it. Try it out. IGN gave it an 8, so that's pretty good. I always look and I think a lot of people know this about us, but I always look at the reviews too. If your reviews are not hidden, then this is gonna be a pass for me, right? Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League got a 5 out of 10 from IGN. I most likely won't be buying this game, right? Because it's just, I don't want to buy a shitty game, right? But shout out to Ubisoft, shout out to Prince of Persia. Very, very good game. Very, very good game. So next on the agenda, I was going to take the lead in talking about this latest movie that I also saw over the weekend. Surprisingly, I was able to have time to see this movie over the weekend, because this movie is a whopping 3 hours and 26 minutes. This movie is long as hell. Killers of the Flower Moon. So this was a Martin Scorsese latest film from back in 2023, a couple months back. Leonardo DiCaprio stars in this character called Ernest Burkham. So this movie, and I huff and puff into the mic, this movie, I don't want to say it didn't flop. I'm not going to say it didn't flop, because I'm a huge Martin Scorsese guy, right? I really implement heavy when it comes down to his movies. But I don't know if I was feeling this one. Maybe because it was just very long. But this movie is long. 3 hours and 26 minute movie. It's long. And luckily, this came to Apple TV. And yes, I do have Apple TV, so I was able to catch it. And Lily Gladstone won, I want to say it's a Golden Globes for this movie. Either that or an Emmy. I think it was an Emmy she won. So it's very, very good to see winners of this movie. But I don't know. I just don't know. Now, here's the synopsis of the movie, y'all. Real love crosses paths with the unspokenable portrayal as Molly Burkham, that's the character that Lily Gladstone played. A member of the Asaki Nation tries to save her community from spree of murderers fueled by oil and greed. So the concept is there. Get this, y'all. The budget was $200 million, and the box office, they had $156 million. So I gotta say that they lost money, right? Because if you put in 200 mil and you only get 150 back, you haven't even broke even, right? So that's kind of the upsetting thing about it. When you invest a lot of money into a film project and then if you don't even at least break even, you lose money, right? I don't think this one hit. I just don't think that this one hit other than the other Martin Scorsese movies. I think it was just long for me because it was just very long, and it's like when movies are extremely long, like, and I gotta say this one's extremely long, you tend to lose interest, right? You watch it for a good hour and a half and maybe 2 hours, you're probably about to hit that 3-hour mark, and then you start doing something else, right? I find myself watching this movie and then I realize I was on Instagram or TikTok scrolling through. Right? And it's not to say that this is a shitty movie, because it is not. The story concept is there. I just think at least this movie could have been, and Apple was behind this one, so they could have made this a mini series. If they would have made this a mini series, then maybe this would have been the highlight for me, right? Because I was so excited when this movie came out. Of course, I was waiting until it came, because if Apple did it, of course they're gonna put it on Apple TV. So I was gonna wait until it came to streaming services. But to see this movie to be this long, I just really wasn't feeling it, right? I didn't feel how long it was. I felt like the acting was amazing, but this just I felt like the story was a bit dry. And maybe I'm just being a harsh critic because, like I said, I'm a huge Scorsese fan. I would prefer Wolf of Wall Street over this movie, right? Because there's excitement there. I would prefer, and obviously, of course, I would prefer an older Scorsese movie, such as we get the list here, Taxi Driver I've seen. The Irishman I thought was a little bit more than The Killers of the Flower Moon, because I actually watched the Irishman and it was really good. Shutter Island, that's a classic, of course. The Departed, also a classic. So Martin Scorsese does have the classics, really has the amazing classics, but I don't know. I just feel like this movie was a tad bit too long. Even he did Maestro, right? Or he's a producer within Maestro, and I enjoyed Maestro. I really enjoyed that one as much. I would prefer that one over this movie, Killer of the Flower Moon. I just think it's just kind of just long. It's long, and the story, and of course Goodfellas. I'm gonna put Goodfellas over this movie at all times, right? Because Goodfellas is one of those movies. I just wasn't feeling this one. I really wanted to get into this one. I really wanted to like this one, but will I go back and watch this movie again? Probably not, because first of all, you just got to have patience, because it's just long. It's just very, very long. But I do want to salute Martin Scorsese for just continue to give us movies, because he's like one of the Mount Rushmore. You know that acronym, the Mount Rushmore of directing. I got to put him there, because he made some good ones. And a lot of his movies, he worked with Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Wolf of Wall Street, Shutter Island, The Departed, now The Killers of the Flower Moon. They just got something there. He probably like his next movie. Yeah, let's put Leo on this one too. But like I say, Killers of the Flower Moon, I really wanted to get into this one. I couldn't. I just could not get into this one. It's just, I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. like I say, I think the acting was phenomenal, but the story was a little bit too dry for me, and the movie is a little bit too long, right? To where I'm losing attention. So that's just my take. You know, take it how you will. I know a lot of people will probably gonna say in the comments, this movie is amazing, right? I just couldn't find it that amazing, in my opinion. So, sorry. So, moving on, we've got Simone Teagues. Simone Teagues with the latest in hip-hop. Go ahead, take it away, Simone.
For the entire month of January, Cat Williams has been at the pulse of the culture due to his viral interview with Shannon Sharp on the Club Shay Shay podcast. Now, Cat's controversial words had everyone talking and sharing their thoughts, further extending the dialogue. We thought the conversation was done, but the one person we haven't heard from has now spoken up after being secretly recorded during a comedy set last week, Dave Chappelle. On Monday night, while sharing the stage with D. Ray Davis, Dion Cole, Chappelle would give his opinion on Cat Williams. Now, typically Chappelle doesn't allow phones during his own comedy shows, but this seemed to be a special appearance at D. Ray Davis's weekly comedy show, which is why the material may have leaked. In a captured video that would leak Friday night, Chappelle would express his disappointment in Cat, going after mostly black comedians in his interview that included the kings of comedies, Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer, and not any white ones. In addition to that, Chappelle would disagree with D. Ray's opinion on Cat's interview being good for comedy. D. Ray's defense was that Cat was able to call out a lot of people and he made the genre competitive again. Chappelle disagreed because he dropped his stand-up special around the same time, and according to him, it performed fine. Now, in a separate video uploaded, Chappelle is also heard acknowledging that Cat is a hurt person, saying that hurt people hurt people. Chappelle would also criticize Cat for always calling out other comedians and entertainers, but acting like he's never done anything wrong. In response to Chappelle's leaked comments, fans online would begin to bring up instances in which Dave himself would call out shows like Key and Peele for stealing his show and making it their own, comparing it to Cat calling out Cedric the Entertainer for stealing his joke. A clip from one of Chappelle's speeches, Unforgiven, would also make its rounds on the internet. The clip shows Chappelle telling the story of an adult comedian who took one of his jokes when Chappelle was just 15. In the clip, Chappelle would even name the comedian who stole his joke. One social media user would write, "I like Dave, top 3 comedian for me, but he is wrong. He'd feel the same way if niggas was eating off of his stolen material. He can't even handle phones at his venues." Another would agree with D. Ray Davis when he said Cat dropped a mixtape and Dave dropped an album, referring to the interview and stand-up special both comedians released. D. Ray nailed it. Album versus mixtape. Dave Chappelle is pissed that Cat Williams' interview dropped on the same day as his Netflix special. He claims to not see the value in what Cat Williams did. The man literally said, "Where is the money in that?" Dave bitter. It appears that Cat Williams' interview has once again proven to be one of the most talked about moments in comedy in recent years, as the interview has now reached over 50 million views and was even spoofed on SNL over the weekend. So what do you guys think? Do you agree with Dave Chappelle's thoughts on Cat Williams? And do you feel that Dave might be a little upset that Cat would drop this interview at the same time of his Netflix special? Let's talk about it in the comments below.
Man, I tell you, look, Shannon Sharp has something special with that Cat Williams interview, because if you think about it, to all of our fan base, obviously we're talking about it here in our show, but a lot of other podcasters have been talking about the Shannon Sharp Cat Williams interview, and I think Mike D and others talked about it on our latest show. This is a plug, y'all. Our latest show, the Spectrum Podcast by K.L.P. Entertainment. Go watch it, go listen to it, by the way, guys. But they even talk more about it. So very, very exciting stuff. I think a lot of comedians, maybe it's true that they're using the interview for material on their shows. You know, it's all the marketing play. It's all business if y'all think about it. So, but as we shift gears here in the K.L.P. Aftermath, of course, we've got Mike Daniels, Mike D, to give us the latest in sports news. What's going on, Mike?
I will tell you what's going on in the latest sports news. Buffalo Bills fans don't deserve this pain. It's the long walk out of the stadium that gets you. You've watched your beloved team beaten on its own field, and all you can hear is silence and the shuffle of feet. Surrounded by fellow fans, some wearing jerseys, others face paint, still others full-body costumes. You're united in grief, with the hollow, yawning awareness that it's over. It's really over, just starting to take hold. Buffalo Bills fans have had many of these walks. So many, too many, the most recent coming Sunday night at the hands of yet again the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes stomped on Bills fans' hearts once again, marking the third time in the past 4 years that Mahomes has walked off the field in triumph. No franchise's fans deserve the kind of relentless skull dragging the Bills have endured over the team's history. It's not fair. It's not right. But it's football. Hell, Bills fans have suffered so much pain that the football gods are rebooting old plot lines now. With a chance to tie the game Sunday, a Buffalo field goal attempt drifted awry. As CBS's Jim Nantz perfectly, painfully captured it in the moment. Yes, Nantz was referencing the origin story of Buffalo Pain, the would-be Super Bowl winning field goal miss by Scott Norwood way back in 1991. Buffalo would get to 3 more Super Bowls after that 4 in a row, still a record but would never again get that close to victory. Now, after a couple of decades of wandering in Belichick-enforced wilderness, the Bills have returned to the postseason, only to find Mahomes ready to fire footballs directly at their skulls every January. Yes, Nantz was referencing the origin story of Buffalo Pain, the would-be Super Bowl winning field goal miss by Scott Norwood way back in 1991. Buffalo would get to 3 more Super Bowls after that 4 in a row, still a record but would never again get that close to victory. Now, after a couple of decades of wandering in Belichick-enforced wilderness, the Bills have returned to the postseason, only to find Mahomes ready to fire footballs directly at their skulls every January. Look, put aside the fact that even if the Bills had made the field goal, it likely would have only delayed the inevitable. The game would have been tied, and Mahomes would have had 43 to get into field goal range. We all know exactly how that would have ended. The Bills had their chances to win and flat out missed them, yes. But at this point, lecturing them for that feels a little like telling someone who has just climbed out of a wrecked car that their vehicle's pretty dirty and could use a wash. The larger looming tragedy of all this is that the 12-lane highway of opportunity that once lay wide open before Buffalo has pinched down to, at best, a narrow alley and, at worst, a keyhole. Josh Allen's cap hit, for instance, was $10.2 million in 2021, $16.3 million in 2022, and $18.6 million in 2023. Next year, it leaps to $47 million, and it doesn't drop below $41 million for the remaining 5 years on his contract. That means Buffalo is hereafter spending an additional $30 million to keep the same quarterback, a hell of a quarterback. True, but still the exact same dude in uniform. Through it all, Bills fans will persevere. You know the Bills Mafia by its most cinematically extreme members. The loons who leap through tables or light themselves on fire, often both at once. You've seen Pinto Ron, the gleeful weirdo who gets doused in ketchup and mustard before every game, and you saw Jason Kelce doing bowling ball shots out among the masses. Bills fans showed up to their stadium to shovel snow on a howling Buffalo night. Ever since someone fell into the pit where their future stadium will stand and the Bills promptly ripped off a long winning streak, fans have been hurling themselves into the pit, willing human sacrifices to appease those capricious football gods. Right below the level of those maniacs stand the great mass of Buffalo fans, a loyal and beaten crew who have endured pain unlike any other franchise in American sports. Nobody, not the Jets, not the Cubs, not the Browns, not the Clippers, has endured this peculiar cycle of excellence leading to hope, then hope crushed to fragments by remorseless fate. even the Lions. So long, the NFL's doormat are enjoying their long-deserved success this postseason. For Buffalo, the days of celebration are always somewhere in the future. A few years back, ESPN produced Four Falls of Buffalo, an outstanding documentary on the early '90s Bills that ended with one painfully discordant note, a dramatization of Norwood's field goal, traveling true rather than flying astray. Set to the tune of Elvis's If I Can Dream, it was a wonderful bit of wish fulfillment, and for Buffalo fans, it must have hurt like hell. It's the hope that kills you, and the what if that twists the knife. When you love a team that brings you to tears on national television, you hope that somewhere at the end of all this, there's a point to all the pain, a reward for all the suffering. Bills fans will have to keep walking. Salvation is at least one more year away.
Yeah, I saw the game, the Bills game. Yeah, a lot of fans were upset. I think a lot of these fans, they take, because I take football to heart too. I watch football, I enjoy football myself. But these football fans, yeah, they take that by heart. So when you lose, even for a playoff game, if you lose a playoff game, that's a big no-no. So they came this far, but now we got to see who's going to win the next playoff match and see who's who and see who's going to be at the Super Bowl. Because it's huge when you go to the Super Bowl. So just one of those things. It does happen. It does get out there. And yeah, it's a great time for football fans. A lot of people are pissed. A lot of people, and even, a lot of New York fans are pissed because, first of all, some fans had to go out there and shovel snow, right? We saw social media, they shoveling snow out the seats, and, fans came out to help. I think it's funny that a lot of the, the players and the management, the field, stadium management is like, hey, we need fans to come out and help us shovel the snow. But ain't that your job? So y'all asking fans to come out and shovel snow for free? But dedicated fans did come out. We saw, both Kelsey's by gosh, with football playoffs this week. We definitely saw Taylor Swift some way, somehow. Hey, we got to adore another week with it. So we'll see what happens there. But, she's going to that next playoff game before the Super Bowl to see if the Chiefs qualify for a Super Bowl. That's all going to be coverage, Taylor Swift. So they ain't going away. It's not going anywhere. So it's just one of those things. It does happen for sure. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going on with the Super Bowl for sure. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up our podcast here today.
New K.L.P.
Yeah, that new K.L.P. radio tag. Y'all ready for this one? Before we close out, like I said, I do want to say thank you guys for staying tuned for the podcast. Rocco, Mike, Simone, it's always a pleasure to have y'all a part of it. T, I can't forget about you, T. I ain't gonna never forget about you, T. You were the day ones. Shout out to you, T. Let's get this going. Shout out to CeeLo Green. Hey, come on now.
This beat is dope.
Hey, come on now.
Ooh, you want this beat, right?
Hey, yes we do. Come on, I'm gonna sing to y'all real quick. Living for the weekend. No, I can't more. Thank y'all for staying tuned for the podcast. Come on now, looking for some action, and it's out there somewhere. Rocco, Mike, Simone, and T, it's been a pleasure. Y'all stay tuned for tomorrow. Tomorrow, K.L.P. After Party Podcast. We're going to be doing live stream tomorrow night, Wednesday. So, Tuesday, tonight, technically. Stay tuned for tonight for the live stream. Hey. It's all right.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Come on now. Thank y'all for staying tuned, man. Thank y'all for staying tuned for the podcast. But there's something about Saturday night. You can't say what you want to, cause you know that your best mine. I'm alive this evening. Hey, I feel like I'm about to do karaoke in the studio.
This beat is dope.
Hey, wonder if share all of this way. Thank y'all for staying tuned. We'll see y'all tonight for the live stream. Stay tuned for that as well. And we out. K.L.P. Aftermath. It's been a pleasure, y'all. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, by the way, if you're watching it on any audio platforms. iHeart, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible. We thank y'all for that. And if you tune in for YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel over at K.L.P. Entertainment and on Facebook Watch, by the way. So, it's been your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas. We're going to groove on out to this one, y'all. It's been good.
Go what's going on in Hot Atlanta. Live from Swanky 93.3 and the Heat 94.6 brings back the hottest hip-hop radio show live from K.L.P. Entertainment and K.L.P. Studios. Go! It's K.L.P. Aftermath. Morning with your host, K.L.P. Kennedy Lucas and Rocco Styles.
You know what it is? Put your hands up.
Tune in now on any audio platform.
Go.